All right, well, welcome to the 5th installment of the Deus Ex Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Clues, with my good buddy, Marty Adams.
Hello.
And my okay buddy, Soraya Uchuk.
Fuck you.
So this is the final film for our first science fiction rotation, and it was The Water of Mars, I believe. Soraya, it's your movie, if you'd like to give us a little intro to it.
So it's a Doctor Who special movie episode kind of deal. It is the 10th Doctor, who is David Tennant. He is by himself and he lands on Mars, and the first humans are stationed there doing research and whatnot, and they get infected by some kind of water alien thing. And that's basically what that is.
Sounds good. So I guess to start off, no spoilers yet. Just go around the table. Initial impressions, maybe your history with Doctor Who would also be good. Sorry if you want to start us.
I feel like Marty should go first because he doesn't.
I gotta take notes.
That's bad improv.
What?
Alright, well, Marty's doing his stuff. Sorry, why don't you start us off with just your history with Doctor Who, and then your impressions watching the movie. No spoilers this time.
Okay, so I was a really big Doctor Who fan, like, before I met you.
Which was 4 years ago.
So, yeah, it was more than 4 years ago. I was super into Doctor Who. I binge watched all of 9, all of 10, and then I got probably halfway into 11. So I have quite a bit of history with Doctor Who. I never saw any of the extra special movies and episodes that they put out. Waters of Mars was the only one I saw, and I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, that's my.
So you really enjoyed this one?
Yeah.
So any initial thoughts about this movie without spoilers?
Well, I mean, I kind of saw them. I saw the movie once already, so there wasn't really anything too surprising. All that really stood out to me was that it was a lot darker than I remember.
Okay. Marty, you want to go next?
Well, I watched a couple episodes of like the old series, you know, like
Black and White.
Yeah, but I don't watch Doctor Who really, at all. But I mean, I know the principle of it, so.
And impressions of the movie without spoilers?
I wish they could have taken the concept and made it longer and a little bit less like, pristine TV, kind of quality. Like if they would have made it a little bit more dark. You said it was darker than you remember, but like I wish they made it really dark. Like, because it's a good concept that they like only got like surface level. You know?
Yeah.
Well, so I've watched like a season and a half of Doctor Who because of you, Soraya.
Yeah, but that was
a couple years ago.
That was back when we first started dating.
And I'll be honest, was not looking forward to this movie.
What?
Did not think I would enjoy it very much.
Oh.
Because I guess the chunk of Doctor Who that I watched was Christopher Eccleston.
You really liked Christopher.
I really liked Christopher Eccleston, and then what's this guy, David Tennant?
David Tennant.
When we started watching the David Tennant stuff, I was not as much of a fan. And this one being just David Tennant, I was a little worried about how invested in it I'd be able to get. But I was pleasantly surprised. I liked the movie a lot more than I thought I would.
Well, the David Tennant Doctor Who kind of seems like he's a lot more like, oh, look how charismatic and wacky he is.
Yeah.
While some of the previous ones were a lot more stoic, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like we should all watch Doctor Who together.
Not today. So, getting into spoilers then, I think. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, I have a list of notes too.
Oh,
that I can kick us off
you
with.
start. I mean, mine's more like nitpicky shit.
Okay. So I liked the core concept of the isolationism of it all. Mm-hmm. It almost kind of had like a vibe of like The Thing to me, where it's these people stuck in an extremely inhospitable location, dealing with a threat that they don't understand and kind of having to figure it out. Like, it doesn't have like that Cold War age paranoia of The Thing, but At least setting-wise, I found it really similar, which I really liked about it. I thought the setting and how they sort of fleshed out the setting as the movie went along was done really well.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing. I like the whole I don't know. I like movies that really capture that whole like there's nowhere to go kind of essence. Kind of like that's why I like the Alien series so much. Because I mean, knowing that you're stuck in an environment with like either the xenomorph or whatever this alien micro whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's like the essence of horror to me.
Yeah. Wow, I completely lost my train of thought where I was going to go from there.
Nailed it.
Well, yeah, so I was going to ask you, though, since you haven't watched any Doctor Who, except for, like, the really, really old shit, did you feel lost at all at, like, certain parts? Or was it good enough and self-contained enough where just knowing generally the concept of Doctor Who being a time-traveling alien that looks like a human, was that enough?
The only parts that, I didn't really, know anything about was, like, the Cthulhu guy at the end.
Yeah, the
Ood.
The Ood.
I still think you're making that up.
No, that's legitimately what they're called.
Do they spell it UUD?
No, it's OOD.
Alright.
But yeah, so I don't really know the background for that, and why he was freaking out about, like, the signs about,
Him dying
or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because that's not really something they really worried about in the original, like, episodes so much. So that was a little out of place, but I think that might have been the David Tennant specific season of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
think so.
A lot of that movie kind of references previous episodes and then episodes in the future that I've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because like, one of the things that I always like, I guess, was interested in about the whole Doctor Who universe is, how he should have left.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost don't like how he did. He turned around and tried to change things.
Yeah.
If you ever see his season, which you probably won't,
mm-hmm.
it's a lot of him trying to do the right thing and trying to keep his nose out of specific businesses.
Like his morality gets in the way of him doing his job,
mm-hmm.
basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that's something that it almost makes him like too human in a way. I kind of more like the stories that don't necessarily have a happy ending,
mm-hmm.
but it does, I guess, because he should have just let it go.
Yeah.
Because that's the greater good. Seeing like Earth prosper like it's supposed to. It ended up being fine, I guess, but what if it wasn't?
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of stupid how like his morality to save these few people got in the way of that. Like the Doctor should be looking at like the greater good, because they should be above like individual problems, I guess. That's kind of the vibe I've gotten from all the other episodes that I've watched.
Well, I think one thing too though is that I think each Doctor tends to have their entire own personality.
Well, yeah.
They kind of mix it up, so that's probably a good part of it. But I will agree with you. I think that was the biggest problem I had with the movie. Was I would have much rather. It happened twice for me, where I would have preferred that he hadn't gone back and saved them. Especially, if I was, God, what's the main woman's name? The captain.
Captain Adelaide Brooke.
Adelaide. If I was Adelaide, I would have been kind of pissed. Like, it'd be like, okay, well, you just let 3 people die, and now you fucking came back?
Yeah.
Like, pick a lane. But I think it would have been much more interesting had he not gone back, and we saw, like, that darker side to it, where he has to make that sacrifice for his job.
Right.
Or...
It's not even a job,
well,
though.
But
he's just a traveler
yeah,
time.
But it's still, it's all about morality in this situation, what he thinks is right.
Yeah.
But, it's such a, I don't know, short-sighted sense of morality, in his decision.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I get it. That's almost like the humanizing part of it. But,
yeah.
And I think maybe that's just this particular Doctor. That's his flaw, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of like the more grim stuff.
I do, too. I was almost hoping, too, when it was started going... and he was like following them around and going along with them. Mm-hmm. I was really hoping that it would almost be where he saw ways that they were going to get out of it, and then he would almost sabotage them.
Yeah.
Like, try to hide it, but like, all right, he fucks with this part of the spaceships that they can't get off.
That's what I was waiting for when she was starting to do stage 5 or whatever. She was Adelaide was starting to like do that. The way they built it up is almost as though like he was planning on they're off packing, sabotaging it. And I would have much rather had that because that's such a that's much more interesting of like character development.
Yeah, and then you could just have it end with like him being sad about it, but being like, well, that's what I gotta do. Like this shit has to happen. And then the other pivot that the plot took that I didn't like is after he saves everybody, and then Adelaide going and killing herself. And it wasn't her suicide itself. Like I tend to have.
You have issues with
I tend to be very picky with suicides in movies.
But I'll let you finish.
Okay. And I was fine with how this movie did. I was very fine with it. But my issue came in that I liked the ending speech, like when they're outside of the TARDIS, and he's talking about how he's not the survivor. He's like the Time Lord Victorum, or whatever.
Time Lord Victorious.
Time Lord Victorum.
I hate you.
Time Lord Victorious. And he's almost having like that power trip. And I liked that. That taking it again a little bit darker, where it's like, all right, this shit's kind of starting to go to his head because he is in such a place of power. And then just to immediately undercut it like that, it just felt really cheap to me.
Well, the big thing about like her killing herself to try and keep the future the same is like, how does that like not lead to some horrible fucked up consequences in the future? Because it's all about she was supposed to inspire her granddaughter to do all this shit. So somehow they're still able to get to the same conclusion, and the granddaughter is supposed to be just as inspired about the fact that like she somehow survived that, somehow got back to Earth, and then killed herself in her house. Because they couldn't explain that. I mean, I know they kind of referenced how the other two people tried to like boost up her name and everything. Yeah. But like, there's so many like holes that I feel like something would fall through.
Yeah.
Well,
no, you can go.
I wish this had been like a full-fledged kind of movie kind of deal. If they had just taken the time to like flesh everything out. Yeah. Like Marty said. I think you said that. Yeah. Yeah. I think it could have been such a good movie.
I was really hoping that it would have gone a little bit slower. And I think it being longer definitely would have helped. Even if they just had like an extra 30 to 45 minutes. Because if it could have happened where one guy got infected and they figured it out, and then you have a good like 20 to 30 minute section of just developing the crew and really diving into what the creature is just a little bit, instead of it just being humans that produce water. Right. I mean, I like ambiguity in monsters, but this was a little too ambiguous.
Well, that was one of the things that I wrote down. Like, you really have no idea. Are they like microbes? Are they an actual alien? Yeah. Like, what exactly are they and all that? And then, during that, like, if they took like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, just for character development, crew development. Yeah. Like, because they mentioned how like, oh, well, it could wait. It could just sit inside you and wait to take over until the opportune moment. They didn't use that at all. Yeah. Yeah. Like. Yeah. So I mean, like at that point, they could have done it like, the initial thing. What was her name? The chick that got infected in the beginning that was quarantined.
Oh, Maggie.
Yeah, like they had her. They're like, oh yeah, it waits and manifests itself later. Yeah. They could have had her as part of the normal crew, like it said. Yeah. It wait 24 hours till she's out of containment. I kind of wish they would have like waited that amount of time.
Had like a chest burster scene almost. Well, like everything's normal, and then all of a sudden she turns and gets someone else.
Well, because that's a much better like flow of plot instead of just constantly like, oh, it's worse. Oh, it's worse. Oh, it's worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It definitely did. It felt less like a movie that was cut down to 60 minutes and more like a 30-minute TV episode stretched out to 60 minutes. Yeah. Because it kind of had that pacing where it's just constantly escalating because it just doesn't have the time to stop.
Because like the Doctor had a lot of character like development, but they tried to force it. They made it so fast that you can't really get behind his changes. Yeah. Yeah. So those were kind of the big things. Otherwise, I mean, I thought it was entertaining. Like I liked it.
Yeah. Well, and while we're talking about the characters too, before we get into positive stuff, I definitely would have liked if it had been able to develop the characters more, because right now you have Captain Adelaide, who gets a little bit of development, with her sort of accepting her future and accepting that that's more important than her own life, which is good. I think that's interesting, and it fits for a captain that would go on that type of mission. But then, besides her and the Doctor, your characters are pretty much German woman, Russian man, Asian woman, and then weird guy who controls robot, and then black lady.
Okay.
But then Joe Captain, like pilot, kind of slightly rebellious guy.
But but then they never really go into that at all. Like, I know Saray and I watched it twice. And the first time we watched it together, I kind of asked, I was like, why is she being such a bitch to this guy?
Yeah, that's one thing I have a problem with this the first time I saw it. It's like, they don't go into the relationship between her and... I don't remember his name.
Yeah, but the second in command.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of plays it a little bit more off the cuff. Like, whenever there's danger, he goes to try and help. Mm-hmm. Whenever he tries sort of taking a leadership position, she pushes him back down.
Right.
And it just doesn't make sense, because they never go into it.
Yeah. You can only speculate what happened.
But there's not even enough there to really speculate specifics. It's just like, oh, well, I guess they have a history, and so she's kind of pissed at him sometimes.
Yeah, I mean...
But then at the end, it's almost a little teary. Or, like, when he tells her that, like, they need to do action 1. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, that's why I keep you around, so you can remind me or whatever. And it's like almost a chummy moment. It's like, you've been nothing but an asshole to each other.
Right. And like when he's turning and stuff in the last second, like blows up the ship. Yeah. It's like, okay, I should be feeling things right now. Yeah. But like, I'm just like, hurry up and blow up the ship before you turn. Yeah.
But the one point I did feel something was when it does make it look like the Doctor is just going to leave. Mm-hmm. And it has like the echoes of German lady. Yeah. Like turning and the footage in back, or the... of her kids talking to her, I'm assuming, in the background, and it's just like that long shot on his face as he's walking. Like, that was chilling, and that was really good.
That's why I wanted them to take it that far. Yeah, me too. Because like they built such a powerful scene, and it's just kind of a fucking slap in the face to have him come back. It's like, what was the whole point of that? Yeah,
especially because then when he does come back, he's like acting so cartoonishly. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, this is great, 10 layers of London-made steel. Nothing's getting through here," and that's just. It was such a tonal shift that felt really undeserved.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It was just like edging,
Yeah.
You get there, and then it's just a disappointment.
Maybe next time.
Someone knocks on the door, I don't know.
Mom comes in to get the laundry. You gotta throw a blanket over yourself.
Don't touch the socks,
I guess, though, I think we were all positive on the movie. So maybe we should talk more about the things we liked about it.
There's one more thing.
All right.
What was he doing on Mars?
Yes.
That's kind of another thing that you kind of have to watch the series for. Mm-hmm. So the TARDIS is supposed to be grouped by like 4 to 6 people, I believe. And since it's only just him, it also kind of has a mind of its own, so it kind of takes him where he needs to be at certain places, but it gets more into that in the series.
Because if that's the case, and it took him to Mars because that's where it thought that he needed to be, he did not need to be there. In fact, he just threw a wrench in the thing.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the 2 big suspension of disbelief things you kind of just have to have with Doctor Who. Yeah. Is like
either that or watch it and see what they talk about.
Yeah, or it's kind of the one is all right. Just roll with where he goes because otherwise there's no plot. Yeah. And then 2, just the time travel stuff. I think. Like any time travel, it doesn't work 100%. Because you can't really establish how that affects things and how that affects an entire species that lives like only tangent to time, and it's way too fucking confusing. Yeah. All right.
Well, as long as there was a reason why he was there, and it's not like, no, look, let's go for a wacky adventure on Mars. Yeah.
Sometimes he just appears.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess then finally going on to good stuff. This is kind of a little bit random, I guess, but I really liked the theme music of it. It's really stood out to me the second time watching it, and I usually don't pay too much attention to music, but I thought the theme was really fucking good, especially the way it kind of changed over the runtime of the movie, because it started off not really being anything too special, but then like it kept keeping that core, that sort of that like rising and falling thread of like the strings going, and it kept like just slightly modifying that as it went on, and I thought that was really cool.
I don't know, I guess I didn't really pay too much attention to it.
I noticed it every time they were running, and they kept making the fucking joke about bikes.
Like, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Because then I was like, alright, this is kind of boring, but fuck that music. So then I guess one of the other things we should probably talk about is the effects. Because I think that's a very big part of Doctor Who's personality.
The thing I kept noticing about, like, you know, when they like turned and had the water pouring out, so I'm just imagining like that's a prosthetic with a hose running through it, but like
Yeah.
But I think that's more character design, not like you know, animation or effects.
Well, I'd count that as practical effects.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, practical effects, but it's more like character design. Like that's just an inherent design. Like how else are they gonna really portray? Like, the water
constantly having water pouring out.
Like, that must have been such like a hassle.
Oh, constantly being wet like those twice.
The entire time, just like soaked head to toe.
Be like, all right, I'm gonna put in my fucking contacts and just get sopping wet for 2 hours. I thought that they were pretty good though, especially I think the worst whenever because Doctor Who is a TV show, so it has a lower budget.
I'd also like to point out that Doctor Who is meant to be super cheesy.
Yeah. With
like its effects and stuff.
Yeah,
that's part of its charm.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's going for campy.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But I thought they were pretty good in this one because the hurdles that I always have a hard time getting over are when they animate things. Because like I feel like it's a lot easier to buy into practical effects as being campy than digital.
Yeah, because like you can kind of excuse practical effects.
Yeah, and you can appreciate it because it's still like, okay, but that's real. Like they actually have fucked up shit on their face and there's real water coming out of them.
Right. You know, it's like it looks kind of goofy, but it's like for trying to make that even work in like moving like costumes and stuff. It's like, okay, that's actually kind of impressive. Yeah,
and there's not that dissonance of like, okay, well that's clearly just a poorly textured 3D model that some intern threw together.
Right. Well, and the robot, you know, that was all like practical too.
Yeah.
You know, and they made a comment how it's all janky and everything, but it's like it actually was just a janky ass little robot that they made.
Except for the sparks on the robot were really irritating me.
Well, yeah, that, and then like when he had his like nitro boost, just hauling ass across Mars. You cue like the R2D2 screaming sound effects.
Those were the best two parts. Just that fucking robot with and I loved the close-up shot of the exhaust pipes that it has for some reason.
And it had like that Flash Gordon kind of like it's just licking out the top kind of thing.
Yeah. And especially when Adelaide and the Doctor were riding it, and they kept doing that fucking like wide shot of them just hunched over on it, just speeding across. It was so fucking funny looking.
Well, I want to talk about the acting.
Okay.
I personally just want to know your guys' opinion on David Tennant's acting, because we haven't really seen anything else that he's been in. He was in the Goblet of Fire. Goblet of Fire?
Yeah, because he was a crazy dude.
Yeah.
Marty Crouch Jr. was it?
Yeah. And like, I mean, he was only in that scene for
he just did lots
short
of,
while. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if any of you have seen anything else that he's been in.
Could you look him up on IMDb real quick? Because I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
He was pretty good in Harry Potter. He had that whole like kind of like.
I'm trying to remember. It's been when Story and I started watching them all again. We watched them so fast; they're all kind of bleed together. Yeah, because they're all really the same.
Well, once you get like 4 to like 7, you know.
Yeah.
So he was in Grace Point, Broadchurch, The Escape Artist. He's gonna be in Mary Queen. that comes out next week. That Mary Queen of Scots movie, Bad Samaritan, was the one that I really wanted to watch with you, Aaron.
Yeah.
That was out in theaters for
Where
a
he's
little
the bad
bit.
guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in the Fright Night remake.
Yeah, so I guess I've only seen him in Harry Potter and this then. I don't know. What did you think of his acting, Marty?
It had its real highs and real lows.
Yeah.
You know, like I liked the more serious stuff when he was realizing that like he needed to go and let it happen.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was like a really strong moment, and he captured it pretty well. But then when he came back again, like 3 seconds later, acting all crazy and stuff. It's like that's the thing. Like I feel like if he would try not to be the wacky doctor.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I feel like his acting is above just being like a caricature.
Cartoonish. Yeah. I thought he did a really good job specifically when he was in the airlock scene talking to Adelaide. He was telling her like, "No, I can't do anything. You're gonna fucking die."
Yeah. You know, and it's the hardest to act. I think those serious scenes when you're not moving around. You know, it's all just about how you're talking.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah, I definitely thought he did a good job. And I agree with you. I didn't like when he got more cartoonish. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say.
caricaturized.
Yeah, that's too many syllables. But yeah, like I definitely liked him, and I think when he does get more ridiculous, I think he's playing that well. I think that's just a bad character direction choice, and it's not him.
Yeah.
Like I think he's doing it well. It's just I wish that it wasn't written that way, more than being his fault.
You know, like in the Harry Potter stuff. I mean, when his role in there was pretty off the wall, but it was in a darker tone, obviously.
Yeah, and it was a bit more grounded.
But he can do like the eccentric stuff. It's just I really didn't like how they made Doctor Who behave in this situation. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring up more specific, like the emotion he can convey in his acting. Like he gets really caught up in his acting. Like I could feel every single emotion that he projects with his voice, and I just want to see if you guys like agree with that.
Well, he definitely commits to everything.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one thing.
Yeah, he was definitely going for it, which I appreciated.
Okay.
It's just like that, the one scene and everything. It's like it's supposed to be like, a real grim scene. Mm-hmm. And I understand you're trying to be like, oh, he's back, let's kick some ass. But like, I felt like it was so unneeded.
Yeah.
And that was some movie direction. I don't think that was a David Tennant acting thing.
Yeah. Okay. And I think really the good thing with David Tennant and how much he's very believable. Mm-hmm. And I think that series like this really need that because it is so campy and it is so ridiculous that if you don't have your protagonist that's just like fucking in it and rolling with it,
you need to believe in the character.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's really gonna fall apart. Okay. Like when I watched, I only saw the first season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I kind of had that problem with that because that also goes for a very campy, style to it. Mm-hmm. But there were so many parts in it where I felt like the characters themselves didn't buy it, and then it just feels so disjointed.
Well, because then you're just like, okay, I'm watching a TV show. You're not like, you can't convince yourself that there's any kind of like reality to it. Yeah,
or like it's a real contained narrative that's happening. Because it's like, oh well, fucking Buffy here doesn't believe in this vampire. Why the hell should I give a shit?
Right.
Well, then can we talk about, or I guess compare it to Captain Adelaide Brooks' acting?
I thought Adelaide was good.
Okay.
For the most part.
She hasn't been in much either, I don't believe.
Yeah, I thought...
She was in Under the Tuscan Sun, and I thought she was really good in that movie, but I don't think either of you have seen that.
I've seen it, I don't remember much of it. But I thought she was good, but she definitely got outshined by David Tennant in the serious scenes.
Okay.
Well, I didn't really like, I guess, I don't know if it was, again, her or her character writers, but she seemed like she was told to be like, okay, you're going to be this, badass, strong woman captain.
Yeah.
And who's always going to be in charge.
Like no nonsense.
Again, I feel like it was a caricature of that type of person,
Yeah. Which I think, one thing that really makes it feel that way too is just how rushed things are.
Yeah.
Because there was no time to develop her really. So it was like you really needed her to be super over the top at the beginning so you immediately understand what she's like, but that sucks.
Yeah. And then like her turn, she went from like being like clearly afraid of, dying, like, I don't care about the future, I care about me and my crew.
Yeah, we're getting the fuck out of here.
And all of a sudden she's like, I'm gonna blow us up. Yeah. And then at the end she's like, okay, screw you, doctor, I'm gonna kill myself anyway. It's like, we didn't see the development from like, just afraid, someone who's just afraid and trying to survive to someone who's willing to sacrifice herself and her crew. Yeah, definitely. There was just kind of like a switch that was flipped, and it's like, okay, now she has long-term morals. Yep.
And then I guess while we're talking about the acting, besides those two, I thought pretty much everyone else was terrible.
I agree.
Terrible to passable.
There's, B-roll.
Yeah. I mean, they were definitely struggling television actors.
Wait, real quick. Adelaide Brooke was also in About Time. She plays the mom.
I do not remember her in that movie at all.
Okay.
I remember one scene from that movie, and she's not in it.
She's also in Gifted, the one with Chris Evans and the special kid.
Yeah. Is she the mom in that too?
I believe she's like an aunt.
Okay. I don't remember her in that either. She's not leaving a lot of impressions on me. What's her name?
Lindsay Duncan.
Oh, okay. I've recognized that name.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, everyone else I thought was pretty bad.
It kind of reminded me of all the actors in like Warehouse 13 and shit like that. Yeah. This or like in like Bones. They reminded me of actors from Bones.
Watch out, Trey really likes Bones.
I hate Bones. Mostly because of Bones. The way she talks, like, all these things are just on the top of her mind. Like, all of a sudden they're just coming to her. Yeah. But she's going to use really big words to make it sound like she's, like, smart, but not really sure yet. Sorry, my mom watches that and just,
No, I get it.
They can't be in the same room.
Oh, yeah. I have that with a couple shows from growing up with my mom. Specifically Roseanne. Roseanne's the fucking worst, man.
No, love me some John Goodman, but like...
Not that John Goodman. No. God, where's some of the other... The one with fucking... Is it The Nanny? With Fran?
Fran Drescher.
Oh, God. Oh, dude. I'm not saying I want to strangle women, but if I got to strangle one fucking woman... It would not be her.
Nah, just kidding, Fran. We love you.
I don't. But yeah, especially, I don't know, especially the thing with the cast for me is it was so, like, obviously trying to be diverse. Mm-hmm. You have the one black lady. You have...
The Asian.
I completely forgot about the Asian guy.
She didn't... There's an Asian guy there?
No, yeah.
Chick.
No, it's just a chick.
Oh, yeah. Well, wasn't the Asian guy the dude who goes to find Andy? And he gets turned? Wasn't he Asian or was he Native American?
I think he was a Native American.
He's like Indian.
I don't know.
Okay.
He was an Indian of some sort.
He was one of the two.
But no, I mean, he was in and out so fast.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Is just none of them are memorable, except for the one second captain guy, and he's only memorable because he brings up a lot of questions that aren't answered.
Right.
You don't remember him. You just remember the confusion.
The guy that ate the carrots in the beginning reminded me of an older version of Beans from Even Stevens.
Now that's the crossover I want to see.
Beans in space.
That is one thing I've always thought would be cool for them to do with Doctor Who. Is that, I mean, since he does travel through times. And does he do dimension hopping? Is that a part of it?
Yes.
Because I looked a little bit at the Doctor Who wiki yesterday, so I classify myself a little bit of an expert.
What?
And I saw that it was talking about how, like, the timeline in Doctor Who's like a web. Like, it's not a linear time. It's just a web. So I always thought it would be cool if Doctor Who did crossover episodes.
With Doctor Who.
They do have two doctors in episodes every once in a while.
Do they?
Yeah.
Or, like, not even that, but if they did, like, just like how they used to do with, like, sitcoms in the 90s, where it was like, oh my god, Family Matters and Full House in the same room? But it was like Doctor Who and Star Trek. Like, that'd be a cool crossover. I don't know. I think it would be interesting to kind of take that character completely out of his ecosystem and put it in something else. Because he is just so fucking omnipotent, where it's almost ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to put him in something where he knows fucking nothing.
Pokemon. It's gonna be the Timmy Jimmy Dr. Power Hour.
Hell yes. Hell yes. But it's Doctor Who, fucking Star Trek, and then the Flintstones.
And Fred just doesn't know what's going on.
With a quick cutaway to Family Guy. But it's just them playing Conway Twitty.
It's a half an hour, just like one flat, like, you know, one frame shift into another. Alright.
I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about too was and this is sort of going back to the effects, but I liked the environment of the movie. The space station felt really realistic to me, which I thought was pretty cool, especially since it is supposed to be 2059, I think.
Yeah.
So it was nice that it didn't feel super far out in the future. Like, it felt like if we got to Mars relatively soon, that's probably what our station would look like.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool.
I especially like the greenhouse dome.
Yeah.
That was cool.
What year did this come out, sorry? Can you look that up real quick?
Yeah.
Madam Laptop Lady.
Hacking.
Third episode of the 2008 time series on 15th November 2009.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, so it's 9 years old. That's not bad. That looks pretty good for 9 years old.
I kind of forgot that he was like the Doctor that far back.
Yeah. He seems a lot more recent than that, but I guess he's 3 doctors ago.
Yeah.
Because now they're onto the woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that was like the last Doctor Who that I even remotely acknowledged.
Yeah. Well, I remember, if any Doctor Who fans watch this, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate. But I remember the guy after him, what's his name, Matt Smith? Mm-hmm. Because I just thought he had the most punchable fucking face. And he wears like the fucking bow tie.
There's
and, like,
nothing wrong with bow
and
ties.
the fez.
There's
and
nothing wrong with fezzes.
Here's my problem with it, though.
Bow ties are cool.
It's pretentious.
He seemed, and having not seen a single episode of his, only seen promotional material and snippets, he seemed like the most pandering fucking shit ever. Because, like, the really stereotypical Doctor Who fans are the girls that, like, wear the suspenders, and they're super into bow ties, and they got the cool socks, and they think fezzes are funny because they're really eclectic.
They get those 3D glasses and pop the lenses out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's this dude fucking just based off of all the motherfuckers in Hot Topic right now buying keychains of TARDIS.
Yeah.
So I just fucking hate him. Just having never seen any of it, I hate him. But David Tennant's alright.
Which one does Doctor you've been watching a lot? The guy with the leather trench coat.
That's Christopher Eccleston. So he was the first Doctor when they rebooted it.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't mind those so much.
I like him. So far, from the bit I've seen, he's my favorite. And he only did 1 season. He left after the first season because of creative differences, from what I saw. I looked into it a little bit.
Yeah, because like the effects are a little cheesier back then, obviously, because it's like older. But
yeah.
like I don't know, I like the more like dirty kind of.
Oh, and dude, that shit gets fucking dark in this season. I think it does.
It does get really dark.
And even,
I think David Tennant also gets decently dark though.
That's what I've heard.
But aesthetically though, just like the stylistic choices,
yeah.
You know,
his stuff is
of like the characters and like the settings and stuff like
yeah.
that, it feels like very pristine.
Yeah, and even what I like too with Christopher Eccleston is even when it's not a very dark episode, it has a bit more of an underlying darkness to it.
You know, and that's what I like. It's a little more like gritty. Like it's easier to see that it's just a set when everything's like nice and new and fresh and pristine and bright and like clear and focused.
Yeah,
like, for sure.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts then? We're getting around 40 minutes, so we can probably wrap it up. And
yeah, I mean, I'd probably be willing to watch more. You know,
more Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I probably
if you want
won't
to say that around me.
We're overwatching you with Doctor Who.
God damn it!
Because
you guys know I'm impressionable.
Because I bought both 9 and 10 seasons.
And 11.
And I have 11s now.
So that's a lot of seasons.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm probably gonna erupt into it, so who are we fucking kidding?
Do we want to go around then, say our ratings and any final thoughts? Sorry, if you want to go first.
I'd give it... I wanted to say a 10, but there's some stuff that I find wrong with it. So I'll probably go like 8.5 to a 9.
8.5
out of 10.
That is big. That's real big.
I really like Doctor Who, so I'm
Okay.
super biased.
I'd probably give it a 7. I think solid 7. It's a good movie. I would recommend watching it if you're into sci-fi or have curious in Doctor Who. I think this is a good starting point for Doctor Who in a way because it's relatively grounded while sort of hinting at like the outer line stuff that's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, it's not too wacky.
Yeah, but it's nice and very contained. I mean, it has a little bit of the Dalek in there.
Yeah.
But you don't really need to understand the Daleks to really get the emotion and what the message of that scene.
The
Ood. The Ood, fuck the Ood. You know what the Ood looks like? He looks like the one dude from fucking Star Wars. I can't remember his name, but that has to wear the mask.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the Jedi, and he fucking dies in the Starfighter, and that weird... Is it Mustafar, I think?
Something like that. I forgot where it was.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'd recommend it. It definitely had its issues for me personally, and I wish it had a little bit more to say in the end. I also did... this is the one thing I forgot to bring up. I did not like the editing. Or really how it was shot very much. Especially, they keep doing that fucking thing when he's going through the crew, and they do the same shot of the same fucking article for each fucker.
Yeah.
And they do the zoom in. Died in 2059.
I wanted to read that
Died
so bad, like, to
20.
read the other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, just let me read it. I was thinking about pausing it just so I can...
Yeah. And then it's all just like, alright, I get it. They're all gonna fucking die. Mm-hmm. Like, you could have gone to one article that said, whole crew dead in 2059, without doing the same shot over and over. Mm-hmm. And then I thought how the rest of it was shot was kind of lame. Again, except for the kind of campy funness of when they're riding the fucking gadget. But I still recommend it. I was never bored. I thought it was pretty enjoyable the whole way through.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like, as a casual, viewer, I would give it probably like an 8 maybe. But like, as personally, what I want out of movies, I'd probably give it like a 6, just because like I want. It's such a good concept that they could have run so much farther with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would have liked to see that same concept, and then fleshed out to be longer, darker, more developed.
Yeah.
Like, I want to walk out of the, if it was in theaters, if I was watching this movie, I'd want to walk out like being like, holy shit, that kind of wasn't so pleasant.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just kind of a masochist, so I don't know.
It's nice too though, because it's a brief 62 minutes.
But that's the thing, for what it's trying to accomplish. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I like it. I think it's good.
Definitely. I guess then, since we're at the end of our first science fiction rotation, I think the three of us each have to pick our favorite of the three movies. Or do we want to do a tier?
Yeah,
how each one of us would arrange them?
We can do a tier.
So I'll go first. I like myself better than both of you because District 9 was my favorite, but I've always loved District 9, so that would have been pretty hard to beat. But I think I'd go District 9, Waters of Mars, and then Dune.
Yeah.
Dune's at the bottom for me, personally.
I think mine would be District 9 at the top 2. And then
Damn it!
Dune,
wait. Marty's gonna try and fucking defend it.
I'm gonna anti-defend it. If it was the story of Dune, Dune would be second. If it was the proper story how it's supposed to be.
Okay. Yeah, because the movie is...
As far as like sci-fi universes, I love Dune.
Oh yeah, the book's fantastic.
But as far as the movie goes,
that's why I am so fucking hyped for the 2 Villeneuve movies.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
And I'm pretty sure I may have seen a different Dune the first time. And that one was better, I think, because it got a lot more like there was a lot more stuff on Harkonnen and like brain shit. Yeah. But in this case, I'm kind of with you.
Okay. Sorry, can I guess? Sorry, can I guess yours?
Sure.
I think you're gonna go Waters of Mars, District 9, Dune.
Yeah, you did not like Dune.
Nobody did.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think I might have liked Dune a little bit more than District 9.
Really?
I don't know why, but there's like a part of me that wants it to be number 2.
Okay.
It was kind of fun to watch in some ways.
Yeah.
It was. I think my main problem with Dune, though, is that if I had been watching that alone, I don't think I would have finished it.
No, it's long as fuck.
Yeah, and if I wasn't in that environment of the watching it, knowing that we'd discuss it, and kind of making fun of it at parts, I would not have made it through that fucking movie.
Yeah.
I would have been like, whatever, I'm gonna go play Red Dead. Fuck this.
No, first time I watched it, I was just at a friend's house, and like there's like a fire going, and it was like nighttime. We were chilling out. It was a lot more like, okay, we're just winding down and watching a long ass fucking movie.
Yeah. So you're putting Dune second. You're putting it over District 9.
I'm gonna put Dune second.
Wow. So then Water of Mars is third?
No, Water of Mars is first.
All right, cool.
But it looks like District 9 wins this one.
It does. District 9's the first rotation champion of the Deus Ex Cinema podcast. Look at that. The best science fiction ever made, they'll say. Call Neil Blomkamp. Get him on the phone. All right, so then we're going to pick our next genre for the rotation. And then I think I'll be picking the movie again first.
Yeah, we'll just keep the same order.
Hold on real quick.
Am I clicking the button here?
You will be in a second.
Okay.
So we'll announce it today, and then next week on our Roundtable podcast, I'll announce what movie I'm picking. And then I'm just going to read down the list of the possible genres, so that everyone knows what the chances are. So we have sci-fi fantasy in one genre, which we didn't do for this one because we wanted to do science fiction, but not a lot of fantasy movies coming out anymore. So we kind of grouped them together. And then we have horror, action, romance, superhero, thriller, comedy, drama, animated, musical, and foreign. So Soraya, if you want to use our randomizer there and pick a genre.
I really hope it's foreign.
Do we all want to say what one we hope it is? Marty's hoping for foreign. That'd be an interesting.
Because I got a movie that's it covers all the bases.
I kind of wanted foreign too.
You wanted foreign too?
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for animated, personally. I like animation.
How are we choosing this? It's just number one?
Number one on the list.
Superhero.
Fuck.
Well, that's the opposite of what we wanted.
That's probably the one I wanted second least. Alright, we can do superhero then. So I will pick a fucking superhero movie for next time.
Flash Gordon, here we come.
Alright, well that's going to do it for this episode then. So this was Aaron, Marty, and Soraya for the Deus Ex Cinema podcast. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, as Deus Ex Cinema, or we also have a YouTube channel, The Default White Guys. And we will see you next week.
And we also live at apartment 4.